Okay, I'm back with Kevin. You know, he's still up in Boston there, and we wanted to get into the second habit of how to become a highly successful Baccarat player. And it's begin with an end in mind. Kevin, how are we going to relate that to Baccarat? What are your thoughts on that? And what analogies did you make?
Well, again, thinking of yourself being responsible for your actions, like we talked about earlier. In mind, what that refers to is that you need to make a vision, okay,
right,
for your future to make your own reality. In other words, this isn't just going to fall in your lap,
right,
or spill off of your lap unless you let it. Okay?
That's right. That's right.
So that's really what the begin with an end in mind means with respect to the whole thing we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about being proactive. Now we're going to start with the end in mind, and this goes down not just to what you might want to do with this, with respect to your life in general. But, every time you walk into a casino,
yes,
you need to think about the things that are going to be necessary for you to be successful that day, okay? That moment in time, okay?
Yeah.
And
well, I think it brings to mind how your stop win and stop loss. Are you going that way? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And these are concepts that are explained on the forum. Okay, there's many threads where people say, well, what's your stop win? What's your stop loss?
Right.
How do you implement it?
Yeah.
But if you don't, I don't care how much money you have. I really don't. It's your money. Do whatever you want with it. Okay. But if you don't want to lose it all,
exactly.
You better, it's like a car. You want to make sure your brakes work.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Not that they're just there. Make sure they work. Okay.
That's an important concept too. Is that I don't want people to miss that. Make sure your brakes work, which means make sure when things are going bad, you're going to stop loss, because that's very important. And I think also too, you're talking about a stop win and stop loss per session, and kind of a lifetime thing also too, Kevin, is very important, isn't it? Lifetime bankroll.
Absolutely. I mean, again, you wouldn't want to take your life savings.
No.
The money that you would, feel like it might take you to get going. Any business requires capital.
Yeah.
It requires some working capital to get it going.
Right. Exactly.
You wouldn't want to take that whole amount, and spill it the first day, so to speak.
Yeah, you're out of business then.
So you've got your short-term, bankroll, if you will. That's what you might go to the casino with. And even that, I tell people, don't put it all out on the table.
Exactly.
Keep some of your powder dry. Keep some of it in your pocket. That way, if you do have a stop win or stop loss occur, you can say, "Hey, you know what? I really don't want to use the rest of this bankroll today, or I want to go to another table with it, or whatever." And if you start winning, okay, which is what we're going to set you up for. Start winning, exactly. You are adding to your bankroll, but you just don't want to assume that's going to go on forever.
No.
Peaks and valleys.
Exactly.
So that concept is talked about many times on the forum.
Yeah, and you mentioned about a template of success, and then I think you got to just start with begin with an end in mind. It's like, okay, when I'm at this level of success, it could be, okay, well, I want to be $100 player. I want to play 2 times a week, and I want my bankroll to be this so that I can go achieve that. And if you have a good vision of that, you can make a pathway to that end and visualize it in your mind, keeping a good attitude, starting with being proactive. Now you begin with an end in mind. You're going to set yourself up with success if you follow these tips.
And we talk, again, the forum, we talk about this a lot. We talk about things like, playing parts of a shoe instead of the whole thing. Every other, video thing I see, it's like, well, and this is what we're going to do in this shoe today.
Right, exactly.
We don't approach the shoes that way.
No, there's some we don't even play.
Armed with a Baccarat toolbox.
That's right.
Okay, where you've got hammers, jigsaws, wrenches of different sizes, pliers, et cetera, et cetera.
You name it.
So you know how to deal with the shoes that's presented. A couple of the other things that have to do with beginning with an end in mind. Notice where you want to be before you start.
Right.
Is we talk about things like making benchmarks. Intermediate benchmarks, not just the goal, but where you want to go, in a reasonable amount of time. And all that means is just writing things down, keeping track of things. Okay.
Exactly.
Any business, you learned this, by the way, in grade school. Everybody that listening to this learned this, okay?
Yep.
The reason they make you write things down in school and then they test you on it, there's a reason.
There's a reason.
That when you write things down,
Yeah.
you will commit to memory a lot more than if you just go, oh, I understand. Oh, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
If you write it down, that process translates into your brain and deep down into your memory, so it can come out at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. To your point, it's like you see all these videos of like just, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. That isn't how we approach it. It's just totally different. And it's a professional way of doing it and methodical. And that's what begin with an end in mind is all about.
The third thing, Keith, and then, there's a lot of them, but the third thing, the most important thing to me is something called the hit rate.
Yeah,
and all is a representation of how many bets you make, okay, in a shoe, and we do not espouse making every single bet you can make.
No.
Okay, versus how many you've won. Okay,
Right.
It's a real simple equation. Okay, you divide how many total bets you made. Let's say it's 15. Okay,
Yep.
and you divide it into the number that you won. So you won 5 out of the 15.
Yep.
That'll come up to 33.33%.
That wouldn't be too good.
And you lost 10. You need to, figure out what you
Doing wrong
or what you don't know yet.
Right.
Okay? That concept of hit rate, when we talk on the forum about, with the successful players, when they talk about, what they've been doing, we've got people that get up into the 60+% range.
Yeah.
Imagine that. If you could, out of 100, you'd be winning, somewhere 55 to even up to 65% of your bets.
Right.
That means you're only going to be losing somewhere between 35 and 45.
Right.
I guarantee you, if you can do that, even it's going to be a roller coaster. But
incrementally get there. That's right.
Okay.
Improve your skills.
In that direction, you're going to realize I'm making money doing this.
Yeah.
I'm going to be, increasing your bankroll, that you're going to, commit to it. You start changing your unit size, which is the amount you bet each hand.
Yep. And you got to set goals. Begin with an end in mind. It's not they'll all work towards an end goal. If you hone your skills and say, okay, my goal would be to if I can get to 60% win rate, that's where I want to be, because that's what I see players talking about. And I want to get to $100 units. And that's the visualization and the strategy that you need to employ. And you start being proactive, then you begin with an end in mind, and of course we'll add the rest of the habits here to tell you how to get there.
That's right. When you're a little kid, think about it. When you're a little kid, what happens? You get your allowance, okay?
That's right.
You run to the candy store. At least that's what I did. I wanted to go to the candy store. My mom would say, not so fast. First, take X amount, and I said, I won't disclose that it was only 5 cents. You take a nickel and you put that in your piggy bank. And you save for a rainy day. Okay.
Right.
Same thing again applies to Baccarat. You don't want to go out and shoot yourself in the foot right away.
No, absolutely not. Okay, well, listen. There is begin with an end in mind. I guess next is first things first. And
putting first
come
thing.
Come back and watch our next video on the 7 habits of highly effective Baccarat.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Calvin.
Thank you.